is everybody today? It's a halfway beautiful day because the sun's been out part of the time. I'm getting ready to make a skillet dinner that has rice, red beans, and kielbasa in it. And I'm gonna show you how to make it, and it's a real quick dish to make, especially if you're hungry and you want to eat right away. This is a good little dish to make. And the first thing I did in a little pan was put a cup of water and brought it to a boil, turned the water off and put in a cup of minute rice. Put a lid on it and let it set for 5 minutes, and it's all ready back there. So I'm going to cut up 3 stalks of celery, and we're going to saute these in the skillet. I've got a little bit of seasoning on my knife. It looks like something was on there, but it's the seasoning. Three stalks of celery. This is kind of a little dish with a Mexican accent. I'm going to use red beans today. I a lot of times use black beans. A lot of people don't like black beans. But I wanted red beans myself today, so that's what I'm going to use. The red beans. There's 1 stalk of celery. Almost the weekend again. I don't know where the time goes. Don't know where the time goes. I had a little bit of trouble with my mixer. I don't know if you guys noticed that when I was doing my bread video. And I'm not sure what was going on with it, but my bowl didn't want to stay in the little tray. Okay, I'm gonna slide this celery over to the skillet, which I'm just now turning on. It's got 2 tablespoons of butter in it and 2 tablespoons of olive oil. We're going to caramelize these vegetables. And the recipe called for a small onion, and I already had an onion cut up here, and it was a large onion, and so I'm only going to use part of it. Chop this up in small pieces. It doesn't really take that long to cut up an onion. I don't mind cutting them at all. A lot of people don't like to cut up an onion, so you could use a little mini food processor like I have back here if you wanted to. If I have a lot of onions to cut up, that's what I do. I'll go ahead and put them in the processor, but for just 1 onion I don't. See, and it's all cut up in nice little tiny pieces. I'm going to take this over to the skillet and put it in there. be bringing the camera over here so you can see what I'm doing. I want to go ahead and get this chopped up. And it called for 1 green pepper, which I only have a part of one. I'm going to use part of a red pepper too. And chop this up real quick. This will give it a really nice flavor. Now the rice was minute rice, and you can use any kind of rice you'd like to have. If you wanted brown rice or any other kind of rice that even takes longer, just so you used a cup of raw rice to begin with, and then you could cook it for as long as it needed to be cooked, and when it was done, then you're ready to put it in with your skillet. This will be really colorful with the red and green pepper in it. It's probably enough right there. I'm going to go add this to the skillet. And we're going to... Anyway, I was telling you about my mixer. This thing I thought something was wrong with it because it wasn't wanting to stay in that little tray. So I ordered another one, and it seems to be doing good now because it was spinning all the way around. So I took this out and put a new one in. I got one off of Amazon for $6 something. It wasn't too bad. So, okay. Now I'm going to try this light. Here's the skillet. It's got all this good stuff in it. I'm just going to caramelize it. Doesn't that look good? Yummy. I'm gonna let that be cooking. I've got my rice here in my pan, and I'm gonna take the kielbasa out. I'm gonna be chopping it up. Whoop. There. This is Polish kielbasa. Take it out of the packaging. This is to be cut up in bite-sized pieces. This is made with pork, turkey, and beef. What I like to do is cut it at an angle. Sometimes I'll cut it in half like that so the pieces aren't quite so big. give this a stir. Oh, it's looking so good. I've opened up a can of red beans and drained them. And it calls for a small can of tomato sauce, which I only had a big can, so I'm going to use only half of that. And then some tomatoes with chili in it. Give it a little bit of a flavor, spicy flavor, but not too spicy. And then I'm going to add some nature's seasoning to it. A couple of teaspoons of nature's seasoning. And I'm going to just add a little chili powder, a little cumin, and a little garlic powder. Just not much, but just a dash in each one, or of each one in there. And give it another little extra zest of Mexican flavors. As soon as these vegetables get caramelized, everything will be ready to be put together. And like I said, it doesn't take very long to make this, and it is so good. And what would make it even better was if we had a pan of cornbread. But I don't, but I am going to make cornbread for you. And you're going to love it. It's an out-of-this-world cornbread recipe. And I'll be making that so you can see how to do it. When you make this dish, you might want to make that cornbread to go with it. It's really good. Take a look at the rice here and see. Yeah. Real fluffy and nice. We're going to add that. They're still just not quite caramelized enough. This looks so good. Raise this back up a little bit. Oh, my skillet holds all this. I might have to put it in a bigger pan. I'm going to let this caramelize a little bit longer, and then I'll get right back to you, okay? I've got the onions and peppers caramelized and the celery, and I went ahead and transferred it to a bigger container because I'm pretty sure that it wasn't all going to fit. Then I'm going to put this rice in here. That was 1 cup raw and 1 cup water. Bring your water to a boil, and then put the rice in it, put a tight lid on it, and let it set for 5 minutes, and it's done. You may prefer to use different kinds of rice, and that's fine. You can do whatever you like. And this is the rice in here. Then we're going to add the chili pepper, or the chili tomatoes. Rotel tomatoes. Then we're going to add the red beans. if you use black beans, you most certainly definitely have to rinse them off and drain them, or it won't be so pretty. There's the beans. Then I'm going to go ahead and put the kielbasa in there, so that when I put the tomato sauce in, it'll get coated really good. Oh, this looks so yummy. I'm going to put a half a can of tomato sauce. Be about equal to a small can. Then I'm going to add, I've got about 2 teaspoons of nature's seasoning in here. I'm going to put all of that in there. And I'm just going to put a dash of garlic powder and a dash of cumin, not even hardly a fourth a teaspoon, just a dash of chili powder, and some pepper, and 2 teaspoons of prepared mustard. Stir this all up. Get all of that combined, all those good flavors. Like I said, this is a really quick, fast dish, and it is so tasty. You don't have to spend all day in the kitchen to make something good. Sometimes you can do it quick, and it's just as wonderful as if you had spent hours cooking it. But this is going to be really good, and I'm going to let that heat back up. And then I'll come back and give it a taste and let you know how it tastes. Okay, what I did was I went ahead and took a little sneak taste because I wanted to make sure it had enough everything in it. And I always put a little bit of sugar in anything that I put tomatoes in. I always put a tiny bit. So I have a son that don't like that very well because he says I make everything too sweet. But I didn't. I just used a little pinch. It just takes a little bit to take the acidity of the tomato out of the pan of your stuff. Anyway, here's what it looks like. And I'm still letting it simmer a little bit, but I'm going to taste this and let you know for sure how it tastes. That is so good. The vegetables are still a little bit crunchy. Not much, but a little bit has texture to it. Such a good flavor. I can taste the cumin and the chili powder, and it is just really good. And the peppers and the onions and celery give it a good crunch. They're not raw, they're cooked, but just a tiny bit of a crunch to it. It makes it so good. And the kielbasa is very good. The rice is good in it. It absorbs the flavor of everything. And I think you'll like this. It's really good, and it's really quick and simple. And I'm not sure the amount of servings, but I would say at least 4 to 5 servings out of it. And anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video, and I hope you'll try this, because I do believe that if you like anything Mexican, you'll like it. You can add hot sauce to it if you want. I don't use much hot sauce, but if you like that, it would be good added to it. So I'm going to get off for now. And thanks for watching, everybody. If you like my channel, hit like and subscribe and push the bell so you can get notification when I'm on. Bye-bye.